Yo, what's shaking? It's your boy FB, man. Coming at you, man. Once again, man, by the grace of Allah, man. Um, man, let me give my shout outs, man. It's customary, man, to the brothers and sisters that I left behind, man. And salute to my man Nick, man. Hey, Uncle Nick, man. It's been a minute, you dig what I'm saying? You've been doing your 1-2. How you feeling?
Yo, I'm feeling excellent, son. I'm feeling large and in charge. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon in New York. I'm handling my handle. And I appreciate you working with me, you know what I'm saying, and being patient and all that, because sometimes I'll be moving and shaking, dipping and diving, slipping and sliding, you know what I'm saying, try to get this paper, player. But, I know the fans love what we got going on. I know they love the platform, what you bring to the table, your authenticity, your, your ingenuity, you know what I'm saying, and just being the genuine brother that you are and breaking things down the way you do. It's only right that we come back together and hit him with another one. You hear me?
Man, talk about it. Talk about it, man. I'm just a work in progress, man. Striving, man, for perfection. Dig. Although I know that's an incredible goal to meet, it's not impossible, man. I can get somewhere close to it, man, by my continuous strive. Yo, but the streets is crazy right now, man. And things is ugly, man. Things is ugly for brothers who, I definitely looked at in a light still look at in a light of respect and honor in certain aspects because of the honor and the fortitude that they showed previously in going through a lot of the same circumstances that I went through, you know what I'm saying? Namely, street life, then to prison, and then to seemingly transitioning into the politically correct uh environment or politically correct society that we live in, though everything is not always politically correct, and a lot of the people that are supposed to be upholding that politically correct uh way of living don't. And these are some of the people that are in high places and positions of authority. However, with that being said, man, just looking from the outside in, man, I gotta say that, my man, big you, man. He fumbled the ball, man. He fumbled the ball, and it's crazy because I was just in prison with one of his uncles, man, a good dude, man, real solid dude, who was done at least close to 30 years, if not more. You know what I'm saying? My man's Mustafa, man, salutes and shout out go to the brother. Either he's home right now or he's definitely in the immediate range of being home, So again, salutes to him, man. But yeah, man, think the boy just, you know what I'm saying, fumbled the ball crazy, man, and let his life slip through his own hands, man, because of, the things that he's tried to hold on to. Word.
Well,
So,
it's whenever you build this something, son, you got to make sure that everything's right and exact, and there ain't the smallest crack in your John, because that's what water does. It finds a little spot, it trickles, it slips through. Now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? You got some problems going on, and your foundation ain't as sturdy as you thought it once was, and now you crumbling, and now shit is lopsided, falling apart. You know what I mean? Just because of sometimes the smallest little things that lead to the bigger ramifications later on, that ultimately destroy the foundation and things that you built. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep your eyes on everything that's going on. But before we kind of get into basically maybe what we think about this or how a person should move like that or boop, 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 I kind of want to give the people just the general information on what's going on with the situation. And he wind up dropping Big U. I'm speaking of a video before turning himself in. He was a fugitive. Now he's not. He's gone to court since then. It's like a lot going on now. You know what I'm saying? So in order for us to give our best breakdown, or for you to give your synopsis and your your understanding of, you know, situations similar to this and what the outcome may be, I think it's good to, you know, paint the picture for the people that already know that maybe missed something, or people that are just like, yo, run that back, son. You know what I'm saying? So I need that. You know what I'm saying? That vertical talk.
All day, every day, the Brooklyn way, man. Word. So yeah, man, let's jump into it, man, because you know this is a bittersweet, you know what I'm saying? This is a bittersweet situation here, man. You know what I mean? Salutes to the boy, man. I hope everything works out for him. You know, hey, but you know, it is what it is, man. Let's get into it.
This is my last video before I turn myself in.
Eugene Big U Henley posting videos to social media while riding in a van with his family on his way back to Southern California once he learned he was a wanted man.
It was all bull crap. I just need y'all prayers. I need y'all to... I don't even know what to say.
But the feds had plenty to say on Wednesday, announcing a wide-ranging RICO-style investigation, including multiple arrests of members of the Rollin 60s neighborhood CRIPS, of which Henley was described as a leader, alleging a long list of federal crimes, including drug trafficking, conspiracy, fraud, and worse.
The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheat.
They claim Henley defrauded celebrities who donated cash to his purported anti-gang program called Developing Options, also applied for grants and PPP loans, and used the money for his own benefit.
Mr. Henley duped the County of Los Angeles by running a nonprofit named Developing Options, which was set up to pull youth out of the gang life and promote anti-gang solutions. Yet Mr. Henley continued to personally orchestrate violent gang activity.
But Henley, seen here in artist sketches in a brief appearance in federal court this afternoon, insisted he's being targeted because of who and what he is.
I didn't manipulate nobody. I didn't steal nothing. We did PPP loans. We did 2 loans. And that's it, just like everybody else did. I didn't use no fraud. I didn't give none of fake names. A lot of stuff y'all hearing is straight trash. And I appreciate the love. It's hard helping black people and not being hunted for doing it. But y'all sitting it around getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This is the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You just guilty because somebody else don't like you.
Hey.
It's a lot going on right there, a lot to unpack. Now they're saying that they got trafficking charges, they got narcotics charges, they got this PPP loan thing going on. Basically, some type of, if not wire fraud, some type of fraud going on behind the scenes. Definitely be wire fraud if you're sending money back and forth to different accounts and this and that. And then the big John that's really going to set it off is, you know, that murder charge. You know what I'm saying? So what do you take from all this? Do you think that, how should I say, son is just guilty and you're going to just hit him with that boomerang slang? Or do you think that, you know, as a black man trying to help his community, there was already a target on his back, and maybe these dudes was out here doing what they was doing, but he had no knowledge of it, and because he wants who he was, leader, this, that, whatever it may be, he's the face of something, he automatically got to get tied in. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Hopefully, man. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. In my eyes, it doesn't mean that a person may not be guilty. I do believe that, or should I say, I have seen personally cases where individuals have and are incarcerated for things that they just did not do, had no part of. And however it may be an actual fact that there's so many more that are incarcerated for something that they actually did or was complicit in being done. There are, in my opinion, less individuals who are languishing in prison. But the less that are languishing in prison for the things that they did not do, had no knowledge whatsoever of, had no participation, and was not complicit to,
Yeah,
is
that's
even worse.
a small minority. Yeah.
It's even worse because they have actually done nothing to be there. However, they are there.
Yeah.
Um, what I see with this, man, is there the possibility or the potential that he can be or was a target? Without a question. Is that the truth of the matter? I'm not, I don't have that luxury, or I'm not at liberty to say, but it is a possibility and there is a potential.
So,
So
oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, with that being there, that there's this up in the air type of thing, what is he going to have to do in a certain sense to prove to the court system and to all these other individuals that are bringing these allegations or, claims against him that I really had nothing to do with this? Is he going to have to start actually detailing things and breaking things down and saying, hey, this guy did that, I didn't do that, I was over here doing this on this day, I was here, they were over there? Like, are you gonna have to start pointing the finger in different directions? Because if you really aren't connected to no gangbanging shit no more, you really here for the youth, and you live in this civilian life, do those terms and that walk that you walked in life still apply now? Do you have to just keep it quiet? You can't snitch, you can't point the finger in order to save your reputation, your family, your legacy, and your your foundation that you got going on for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like what's gonna be his best play in this situation? Let sit back and just let them all figure it out, and they could point the fingers, the prosecutor, or do you start saying, hey, I'm willing to sit up here and explain what I was doing, maybe what I know what these guys was doing, and how we not connected to it at all? And you know what I'm saying? That way, this RICO way.
I mean, listen, if a person can explain what they were as an individual doing or not doing without incriminating,
No, what I'm saying, he's going to have to incriminate people because that's what they're going to want to do.
then that's a real sticky situation for a person of his status
And do you
or who
think?
he's known.
Well,
And go back to your question a little bit. In order to, there's no real sitting back in a case like this. He's gonna have to show a preponderance of evidence that refutes whatever the U.S. attorneys or the U.S. government is trying to say that he was responsible or played a part in or was the leader of. Because that's one of the first things that I noticed. Leader. And trust me, those people did that for a specific reason early in this investigation or in this indictment, because they already want to let the public know. And when I say public, that means the politically correct arena, the urban city individuals that may look up and respect, you know what I mean, other gang members or gang leaders, that look, man, this right here is a title that we place on you that carries, if convicted, additional enhancements. So that word leader from the onstart was something that, you know, individuals who are still in these streets should pay very close attention to. Because if you're in the grouping of 2 or more individuals and happen to be caught on wiretap or video given any kind of directive or order, then you can be, by the federal statutes, considered a leader and indicted or brought up on charges of racketeering activity, which they're clearly doing with this situation right here. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I asked you that because that's going to lead into this next thing that we're going to get into now, because basically you got these individuals that have been online that used to uh, be his homeboys. I guess now they don't see eye to eye anymore. They rolling 60 Crips too. And you know, they got this white guy with this podcast called No Jumper. And
Right.
dude, he been employing dudes, and dudes been going up there and talking. They talking, you know, talking about the streets and different things and all this other stuff. And his name has come up a lot online, where dudes are saying this is this, this is that. So if dudes is already online, been on this campaign for 2-3 years, 4 or 5 years, just throwing your name through the mud and throwing a lot of things on, basically dry snitching on you through the internet, does he have to officially fight this fight by those old school rules? Because we in the metaverse now, we in the AI era, we in the going viral era, we on the internet,
Absolutely.
baby. So
Right.
does he have to actually fight his fight that old school way? Can he just say, hey, well, you know what? Y'all motherfuckers is up here telling on me, telling this, telling that, doing this, doing that. I ain't got nothing to do with none of this. As a matter of fact, you did this, you did that. I heard you was over here. Like, you know, how is he gonna be able
Hey,
to combat that?
listen, hey, bro, that's that right there. That's the $1 million question. You dig? Like, you know, if he's more, you know, worried about his reputation, you know, then he's gonna hold firm to, you know, the old adage that, you know what I'm saying, I ain't giving him nothing. I'm quiet. You dig what I'm saying? It is what it is, and that's just what it is. However, if you know, if he's on, or he has truly been what, you know, he's portrayed as, you know, a person who was doing nonprofit organizations that was in the best interest of the community and so forth and so on, you know, that's a situation where I would only believe that, you know, he feels like, yo, hold up, for whatever reason that the government may feel that I am involved or that I partook in one or more, you know, occurrences that they have within this indictment. Oh nah, you dig what I'm saying? Like, you know, I could literally, you know, refute that and, you know, show, you know, my receipts, so to speak. Now, how much would that incriminate, if at all, anybody else, remains to be seen. You
Okay.
dig? But, you know, again, at this point with the federal government, one thing about the federal government, I know you've heard it before, just like a lot of the listeners, you know what I'm saying, that are hearing me now, is that the feds don't just come at you empty-handed.
Mm-mm.
You dig? And though, let me be very clear about this, and though they come oftentimes with some bullshit or enhanced shit just to make their case that much stronger for the public's eye to basically condemn you before even hearing the evidence that they may or may not have. That's the picture they want to paint. But oftentimes, to some degree or extent, I would say 85% of the time, individuals have placed themselves in those crosshairs. Sad to say, it's just what it is. It ain't me, you know, lending a side. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. We tend to straddle that fence and believe we have it all figured out. Not to say that this is the case, but 85% of the time, this is what takes place. And the Fed's word sitting back, listening to all these, as you say, the no jumper situation and many other situations where, brothers are just on there just, sopping their gums.
Dude,
And
they got
speaking of,
felons on the show sitting there with hammers, extendo clip on
okay,
them, filming this while they're
okay,
talking about
you
crime.
dig?
It's
Bozo.
insanity, Frankie. Insanity.
Bozo. It's bozo. You dig? However, again, like I said, I don't have to point the finger when you pointed the finger at yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
dig? And this is the thing that I try to get these young brothers now to understand. Hold up, y'all doing a lot of goofy stuff. Y'all doing it in front of 10, 15, 20 individuals. And then as soon as you get snatched up, the first thing that come out of your mouth is somebody ratted on you. Bozo, you ratted on yourself.
Yeah.
You ratted on yourself by doing these interviews or doing these videos or even talking where you're not seen, but you're glorifying something. And these, you got to realize you got zealous individuals and you got overzealous individuals that are part of the police force, the U.S. Attorney's force, the DA's force, the police officers force. You
Man,
dig?
these people got kids.
You dig? And they
Like,
got a
they
job.
kids sit there with
So
this.
their thing is, listen, I need to get my collar. And if I can get my collar on this dude here, then that's what he's making it easy for me. He's
Well,
sitting up
no,
here.
I'm saying it from the perspective where, like, all these law enforcement, these big people, maybe you aren't on their radar, but these people got kids. They got grandkids. Their grandkids are sitting
That are
around
listening.
watching these podcasts.
Absolutely.
Hey, granddaddy, you Supreme Court, yo, look. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
no way they're going to miss this information because, life is just moving like that right now. So it's a little crazy to me, knowing that they know that and what they're doing, that they don't even take all this stuff into consideration. And then you come in to take down the whole team. So you going over here to do an interview for yourself. You go over here to do an interview for yourself. Now this dude snitching or saying this. Now all of a sudden you got 30, 40, 50, 60 people locked up right now for various different things, but it's all stemming from possibly this. Now, how true is that? We don't know, but I'm going to let you hear it from the main source's mouth himself and why he feels this whole thing happened. Speaking of Big U.
That's good.
All right, bless him.
So this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. And he's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about whack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying, all y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this. All y'all guilty of this fuck shit. If you have something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. Wack said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They going around scaring and intimidating everybody. But y'all sitting it around getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You just guilty because somebody else don't like you and they go on the internet and do what the fuck they want to and y'all gonna promote it. It's crazy. But I'm going to go turn myself in though. Cause I ain't did nothing. This fact is, man, they done went to my house, kicked my houses in, bust my doors down, bust my windows. They calling my son at his football practice, threatening him. You know what I mean? These dudes tagging him. What kind of shit is this? But y'all gonna be rolling with these dudes. And I got this last thing to say. Wax said he was gonna destroy developing option, right? So who gonna replace developing option? Which one of you fuck niggas in the 60s gonna call yourself coming in? Because whoever try to come in, y'all the ones that's working with Wax. Believe that. So remove me to get me out the way for somebody else to come in who gonna cooperate. That's what the play is. That's what the whole play is. I'm out. I'm gonna send y'all videos to put up, all of them until they lock me up.
600 has been posting, basically trying to implicate Big U in the murder of a high school football player,
Where has
right?
600 implicated?
Well, when we went to his Instagram the other day, there was a clip of him talking about how this guy died and how his fingernails had Big U's
But see,
DNA
here go
under
the
it.
problem. Man, the mama been on TikTok, the daddy been on TikTok, the shit is on the fucking internet.
I haven't seen that.
The mother, the fucking sister, I know because we ran it on Clubhouse.
So the mother is trying to raise awareness and say that she thinks that there was foul play
Ain't
involving
no
Big
thing.
U?
She's saying this what it is. So it's on the fucking internet. Yes, they had to get a warrant to get his DNA. And then you got the sister saying after they got the DNA, they found his DNA under my brother's fingernails. And it's some serious shit that have not been said.
Police, homicide suspected after body found in desert near Apex.
Is that not on the fucking internet?
It's a lot going on, Frankie.
A whole lot.
Now, this guy 600 who he's talking about was a little homie that used to be down with him, and he got a YouTube channel, and they had a falling out, and then the dude 600 basically linked up with Whack 100, and they started doing some type of content and doing their little things behind the scene, and then there was another dude that he fell out with that wound up connecting with Whack 100 named Loose Cannon. And, you know, the three of them, I guess, in his mind, have been putting together this narrative online that, you know, he's out here doing nefarious things and stuff like that. And then I guess the culmination of that with this other, I didn't see this TikTok thing he's talking about, but I guess the kid's mother, you know, is saying that his DNA is there. They were just showing something up there that it says inconclusive, but Henley can't be excluded. So we can't tell if it was you, but we can't exclude you. So maybe she's running with that. But the internet seems to have stirred up a lot of this shit.
And you're absolutely right. And this is why they say that the tongue is a two-edged sword. You dig? Like, don't get it twisted, man. Everybody wants to be entertained. You dig, Maximus? Are you not entertained? And we're in the era now of individuals who have nothing better to do than sit in their house or on their phones like couch potatoes and just listen to, you know, things that may have truth. And if it is, then yo, I salute. Or even more so, things that may not have truth. You dig? If it's entertaining. So at whoever's expense it's that. You dig? And that's the sad thing. Because in that same bracket, it could possibly or potentially one day be you or somebody that you love that, you know, may reap those same kind of yes.
Yeah, consequential
Consequence.
consequences and damages, and
Without a question. However, no one, you know, usually thinks on that level. My thing is this: being truthful vertically. Things that are being said in a incriminating matter out of other people's mouths against somebody that they know or don't know. It's my belief, not all the time, but most of the time, there may be a ring of truth to it. To what extent is where I can't and won't go in to assuming or trying to exaggerate. And it go and that in my opinion, this stems from my mother, grandmothers, and my homeboys' mothers and grandmothers saying that when 3, 4, 5 people are saying certain things about you, depending upon the integrity of that person, there's usually some form of truth to it. Now
Yeah.
it's up to you to investigate and decipher how much of it may be true, fabricated, and embellished, and so forth and so on. Now, I don't say this heavily in condemning the boy Big U. I say this because it's a reality, and it's a reality that we are living in, and that's why it's very, very important that in this day and time, regardless of who you are, whether it be a gang member or just a regular Joe Blow, know and understand who you are surrounding yourself with. Know who you got next to you. Because these same individuals that are acting like, I'm this, I give it up like this, word up, to this person, and if this person come over here or do it, we gonna, As soon as they get inside of that police car or that precinct in a room by themselves, they're, yo, listen, it wasn't me. He told me to do it, or this what it was, and this is how it went down in order to save themselves.
Well,
And go ahead.
well, no, I totally agree, and I'm looking at it even from a more devious perspective, because like, the world is very much so different now than what it was back in the day, and this guy still might have this mentality, let's say allegedly, that all the little homies, and I could dog you out and treat you however I want to treat you, or
Right,
cut you any
right,
way I feel like it, and there ain't gonna be no consequences because I
right.
run this set, and not knowing or not taking into accord that they will monetize your demise, homie.
Fact,
They will go
facts,
online and have ads running, boy, and telling stories,
facts.
putting your names and things. It ain't like little homie go to the room, you getting put off the set anymore, and you just have no voice.
Right.
Oh, word? I'm going right on this phone now, and let's talk about it.
And this is why I said it is imperative that if you're gonna walk that straight and narrow, then walk that straight and narrow. Don't don't straddle the fence. And in the same aspect of you straddling the fence, you may be doing these little nefarious acts to, as you said, maybe the little homie, maybe a homie that ain't even a part of your clique just from down the block, and you're treating him like he's just a sucker because he don't want to be a part of you, or he doesn't agree with everything that you and the little homies may be doing. Or it may be, in the sense I hear them say, that he was manipulating or potentially,
Mhm,
allegedly,
mhm,
extorting other people.
mhm.
So,
Well, that was the thing too, where the extortion. I heard this mentioned allegedly that there's a lot of people in the community that don't want to pay this tax or
right.
whatever it may be, and a lot of people are breathing sighs of relief, let's say, because it's like, oh shit, man, they done got the boogeyman
And
off the
and
streets.
listen, man, like X say, man, when you do dirt, you get dirt. You
Word up.
dig? So at the end of the day, man, like again, man, this is just vertical talk. This shit ain't even directed. This is directed to individuals in society who think they got all the sense. And let me first be one who say I used to be one of those individuals. You dig? Who either thought, or didn't even think that I would get knocked for the things that I was doing. You dig? It's just that through my nurturing, I knew how to carry myself and was able to not only hold myself accountable for what I knew inevitably had the potential of happening, being locked up, or worse, being killed. I was able to do mine being a locked up aspect with honor, not taking anyone down, not, violating the honor in which and get me. Because now when you look back and when I look back and I realize that even some of the situations or instances or occurrences that I may have did that may have saved individuals or that kept other individuals off of certain individuals, so forth and so on. Guess what? If brothers nowadays think that's something that's going to be appreciated and honored, you sadly mistaken. The streets ain't got no love. And you may, and again, the old adage for me was, and I didn't listen to it. If you got one individual, much less two, that are your true friends and that show you those qualities and that you, through a succession of lessons, you have learned to know that, yo, man, damn, they're really my friends. They're really my homies. They're really my comrade. You better value them.
Yep.
And they should value you, because it's not too often that too many people can say, I genuinely have a real comrade who in my time of need assisted me and complimented me by doing honorable things, for me or my family, whether I was in prison, whether I was in a hospital, ICU ward, whether I was in the streets, working, but fell upon hard times and just needed a few dollars that they had and was able to provide for me, as opposed to saying, yo, I ain't got it, man. So yeah, man, I was taught from early, and though I didn't really adhere to it from early, only but to some degree, test your friends, man. Test the people you're around, man, if you're gonna have them around you, and if you know that you're doing things. Oh, no. Let me strike that. Regardless of whether you're doing something bad or good, you should know who you're around. You dig? You should know that the individual that you are around is there to compliment you, lift you up, as opposed to tearing you down, and so forth and so on. And in this day and time, especially if you're in that criminal arena, ain't too many dudes or females complimenting you when it comes to their life behind those bars or your life behind those bars.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so for us to be in this day and time still thinking that that the possibility or the potential of the 70s and 80s, and not to say that there wasn't rats and snakes and snitches in the 70s and 80s and 60s and so over those, it was more of a promotion of not being a rat or a snitch or taking down somebody that you say you was a part of, as opposed to now where it's more cool that, yo, man, shit.
Well, I also too think that snitches ain't getting killed no more. Honestly, like people's
That's a fact.
houses ain't getting blown up. Like the retaliation and the magnitude of what it was back then till now has decimated incredibly. So I
Greatly.
think people also don't fear it. They feel comfortable. And
And
you look at guys like Tekashi now. This guy Woody from the
110%.
Young Thug case.
No, no.
These guys is still making money, living in mansions. Catching more cases, not
Absolutely.
getting any time,
And the crazy thing,
frauds, traveling the world, and it's like their life never
listen.
stops.
Let me say, let me just keep this real quick.
Hold
Let me
on.
say this.
And then what these they able to do that seals the deal for them. They somehow get the masses to feel like they was a victim in the situation, and they was taking advantage and this person just had to do what they had to do. Yo, we fuck with you, son. That is no more. That code is gone now. Pick it up.
The code been gone. Truthfully, maybe even before Sammy the Bull. I just think Sammy the Bull made it very, very cool because of who he was, what his stature was inside of La Cosa Nostra, the mob, and being able to actually not just get away with it in the streets, but then go to prison and return home from prison and do something else and go back to prison, and nothing has happened. And I don't say this to promote anything happening to him. I'm just saying it as a reality that, as you said, that code of honor of holding your own weight and not giving up your comrade is long gone. Now,
Well, also too, I think when the feds get in there and they start telling you things about your comrade too, I think and then they tell you this about this and tell you this about that, and whoever the person may be, I think and they like with this situation, there's no consequences in these situations, I should say, where fuck it, I'm a snitch and I know this ain't gonna happen or that ain't gonna happen. They're gonna be off to the races, and I think you're right, man. This is probably like maybe mid 80s, maybe this shit was over. You know what I'm trying to say? Maybe before
absolutely.
that.
I mean, when
Late 70s, like cats was like, nah, I ain't doing 100 years for you, and you ain't doing shit to my family either. Hold that, I'm out.
I mean, even going back to the old head, whether it was Frank Lucas or Nicky Barnes, and but no, get it now, because in some of these instances, you had individuals who found out an individual, and in the case, let's just say like with Nicky Barnes, and his thing was the fact that he told his main man, which was supposed to be his comrade, yo, listen, man, I don't care what you do with any of these broads, whoa, just don't touch my wife. Just don't do no dishonorable shit and hump on my wife and violate that. And your man turns around and does it, which is a snake move. Now, do I say that one thing cancels out the other? No, but I can understand more that a person tells you. It's like Tony telling him, no, don't mess with my sister.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my sister. To me, she's priceless. And if I can help it, I don't want you to contaminate her with the lifestyle that we live, because how we're living could be detrimental to her, even if it's at the hand of, well, it was at the hand of her own brother in a sense, because the people that was coming for him
Came
got
for her
her.
too. Yeah.
You dig? So, in that way, when people are not looking at that, at things from looking at the outside.
They don't got a 360 on it.
They don't have a 360. Exactly. Yeah. You dig? They're looking at it one dimensionally. So now, even with the Tekashi, when you hear of, hold up, this man asks you, Tony asked me, no, don't mess with my sister. And even if, as an honorable, if I still did, I'm going to go holler. Me, hey, yo, Tone, I'm going to go check again. I'm going to try to break the ice. Yo, Tone, come on, man. I'm not going to do her dirty. I'm going to love her. I'm going to respect her. I'm not going to hump on her, whatever. And if Tony want to get an ultimatum of saying, yo, listen, all right, well, if you're going to do right by her, get out of the game. Because I don't want anything that we doing to inadvertently affect her. And if you're willing to do that, then guess what? I give my blessings. You dig? The same thing with a Nicky Barnes. He said, yo, don't touch my chick. Not my chick. Don't touch my wife. And your man goes and does just what you asked him not to do. But then when he says, I'm in prison, and he starts to think in the fact, how can I touch him? Oh, wow. Yeah. He's still in the game. He's still there. So now I'm going to be the same snake that you were because you fucked my wife. So now he's evening, but
everybody got to go.
You did. So in the Tekashi case, they say that there was certain things going on with people that the boy had, was actually looking out for, whatever, could have took to a whole nother level.
His girl, allegedly.
Right, yeah. And doing a bunch of other, things. So at the end of the day, when this little dude does what he does, it's like, yo, hold up. Don't nothing beat the cross but the double cross. Don't nothing beat the double cross but the triple cross. So how can I sit there and really say that, yo, nah, boy, like you've been...
Because you set it off with your action.
You set it off with your disloyalty. Mm-hmm. You did, but nobody want to look at it. They want to just look at the one side, but every action causes a reaction.
Factual and action.
As it is above, so it is below. I've said this before. So So when these dudes or these females want to sit and think that, yo, that karma doesn't revisit it, just because it doesn't revisit you in the way that you actually did it to the other person, doesn't mean that it doesn't revisit you. Are you willing to accept those ramifications? Are you able to accept the consequences that come with that and say, you know what? Played myself when I did such and such. Yeah, bro. So you dig? Nah, I'm not. Nah, homie. Like an ace of spade is an ace of spade. You call a shot, be looking to get shot. You dig? Now you may not like how that shot come back at you or whatever the case may be. So in this sense, it's to say this. I don't know specifically. I'm not from Cali. You dig? I got a lot of individuals that I know. However, I haven't ran across any individuals at this point because I keep my circumference very close at this point in time, due to the fact that I am in a whole nother way of living at this point in my life. You dig? But I understand. I come from the street. I'm not of it now. And I come from the street in a way that many individuals have it.
So do you think if Big U decided to say, hey, you know what, man, I ain't doing this motherfucking life sentence, and y'all all up in here lying and this and that, check it out. I do know a lot of people, and I do know a lot of things about these streets. Y'all all going down, and you said nothing beats the double cross, but the triple cross. Y'all trying to fade me, I'm gonna have to fade you the best way I know how. The same way you trying to do me.
You know, once upon a time, Jay said it, man. Jay said the labeling of a snitch is a lifetime scar. You always be in jail, bitch, minus the bars. Well, nowadays, that's not the case. Once upon a time, yeah, because everywhere you go, person know that you did what you did, you're going to be ostracized. Now, yo, man, it's sad to say, but some of the so-called real ones. And yo, now, let me be 100 now. This vertical. I'm working. You potentially got rats around me that may have done things. You dig what I'm saying? And at some point, you got homosexuals. You got to know how to be universally adaptable and be able to deal with what is around you now in a way that's still respectful, but doesn't mean that you partake or you agree with the lifestyle that somebody else live. However, like I tell people, yo, bro, I'm not in the street no more. Dude, man, real talk, man. Just 4 days ago, do the job, tell the dude, say, yo, listen, man, this is just what it is. Woo. Cool. I said, yeah, man, you dig? Is that snitch? Yo, listen, this is your place of employment. You feeding your family with this. You're not in the street no more to be saying, yo, ain't snitching. When what somebody else do is affecting you and your livelihood, and this is a livelihood that's paying you excess amount of money.
His son played for the San Diego Chargers, man. You know, he got a nice little family over there. He over there getting them millions of dollars. All this.
So now this is it. Now this is where I go with that, Nick. That would make me say, in all honesty, I pray that all this is just some fabricated stories that are being placed on this man. Because if not, I'll say this. If he was partaking or trying to hold on to a lifestyle that he had won at, even when he was out in the world and did his bid and came home and got into this politically correct arena, getting the PPEs, getting the nonprofit organizations, and I heard him say he had a number of properties. Yo, boy, you won. So if you was trying to hold on to this lifestyle of being still relevant and living up to the concepts or the perspective of how younger dudes are now viewing what they had to be or how they had to carry themselves in order to be valid, yo, boy, you dead ass wrong. And yeah, I gotta say that's goofy.
Basically, that he used basically he just put a mask on. Okay, I'm gonna stay within this gang shit and everything that I'm doing through trying to act like I'm doing prevention. But what I'm gonna really be doing is I'm gonna get an even stronger grip on this, and now I'm gonna be connected to the city, so I'm gonna know this and know that, and I'm gonna have some police
Well,
over here that got some
who's the fool now then, bro?
Yeah,
And I'm
that's what
just
I'm
keeping it
saying when they
100.
pull the mask
Yo,
off.
bro, these people, meaning the justice system,
Mhm.
meaning the Eagles, meaning the U.S. government. You should hear the old timers say, man, you got multi-millionaires, maybe even a couple of billionaires sitting in federal prisons because they thought that they were smarter than the U.S. government,
Yep.
who makes the money. They can't run out of money. So any person, you dig, and I'm going to just keep it 100. Now, if you ain't got absolutely no record, no blemishes, you may have a shot of seeing daylight again. Depending on what you may get caught up in. Anything less than murder, as they said in life, you may have a shot. But now, even that M word, as opposed to back in the days, and I said this the other day while I was on the joint, back in the days, dudes was getting 3 to 6s, 4 to 12s, 4 to 8s, 3 to 3 to 9s for catching a murder.
Yeah.
Nowadays, your plea starts off at 30,
Yeah.
50 years,
Yeah.
and you're only 16 years old.
Yep.
So it tells you just the type of game these people are playing in this day and time.
Well,
And
they're getting real serious with it. You gonna take
they're
a life?
they've
We're
been
gonna take
getting serious.
you taking a life. We gonna take your life. Straight
Even
up
if
and
you
down.
didn't take the
When we
life,
get done with
dog.
you ain't gonna have a life, and that's how they
I
look at
did.
it.
You know, there was stories when I was coming up, man. We had judges, man. You dig? The judges, you know, the rough wax, you dig what I'm saying? The Cunninghams, you know, a few of these, you know what I mean? I'm only gonna name two. I'm gonna stay right there. You dig? You know, judges that, you know what I'm saying, literally,
Oh, they was
carry
known for tossing the book at dudes.
the book. They toss a Super Bowl. You remember one of them little red balls that bounce like
Yeah,
100,000 times? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
as it get closer to the ground, it bounces even more and faster.
Yeah.
And they'll drop that joint off the podium of which they sit and say to you, how many other times that ball bounces is how many years I'm gonna give you. Or even other statements like, yo, hey, do me a favor, man. Hey, bailiff, take him to that window right there, that window, right over there. Yeah, right there. Hey, Mr. Such and Such, I want you to take a good look outside. What do you see? And you had a few individuals that wouldn't say nothing. They were just they ain't saying nothing, whatever. They ain't had nothing to say when he asked them, "Did you have anything?" But then you had those individuals that'll go for it. I don't see nothing, Your Honor. Well, know this: by the time you come home, there's gonna be a full-blown tree there, and ain't nothing but concrete right now.
Yeah.
You dig? And this was just their psychological way of telling you, "Fuck you." You dig? Like, yeah. You ain't got to worry about coming home for at least the bare minimum of 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, to be in this day and time and to still think that you got it completely figured out. And, yo, for those, because there is those that are slipping and sliding, yo, salutes, man. Kudos, man. You dig? And I hope you continue to have the fortune and the blessings that you may have. But if you're ahead, I'll say this now. Like my dude in American Gangster said, it's a difference of quitting while you're ahead and quitting.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So yeah, man, again, man, like earlier said, man, you just got a lot of individuals, man, who keep, throwing them bricks at the penitentiary.
Well,
And
one of the guys that got locked up, actually, Loose Cannon, within 72 hours, not even 72 hours, within like 48 hours, he was on the phone from the feds doing another podcast, telling his wife that she's going to put out all his content, all his music, all his this, all his that. We ain't going nowhere. We gonna push it up and run it up. What do you think about that? An individual that's locked up on a RICO and they're still worried about YouTube.
Well, I think that could be a little ambiguous. Because in one sense, you're gonna need it if that's your sole uh 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 uh
Way of providing
situation
for
of
yourself. Yeah,
providing for your family. Because
yeah. Your
one
main
thing for
avenue of
certain, two
revenue.
things for sure. Oh yeah, them federal lawyers are gonna cost. And for a RICO, regardless of which one it is, a 1959 or a 1962, and whatever attachments or enhancements that may be added, and how many other charges that may be included, or how many different superseding indictments that may or may not come. Yeah, it's gonna start without a question. The bare minimum is 50K. You dig? Anything that remotely has, a number of dog's teeth embedded in it, is going to be, the price of pussy is going up extremely. So now it goes to 100,000 to 150,000. So if you don't have that bread already, if you're not sitting on a couple M's, because it's going to take a couple M's just to get through it, and you still at the very least may get, on a cop out, let's say,
And
depending upon your record, 10 years at the very minimum.
yeah.
You dig? So yeah, man, you're gonna need that. On the upper level, if you're doing it to, continue to dig that hole deeper for yourself, because you want to be, still relevant, so you still yapping or yada yada yada, and I see that craziness. That's a thing.
Well,
Another.
yeah, that's wild to me, man.
Well, guess what? Welcome to America. Welcome to the new era of the internet.
Well, no.
You dig?
I mean, it's wild to me, like, because the West Coast dudes, this seems to be something that's like, seems to be a reoccurring thing now. 'Cause I just thought of the dude Crip Mac. He got sentenced for having the ghost gun and all that shit. And one of the stipulations was that, he cannot gang bang, he cannot represent this gang, he cannot do this, he cannot do that, he cannot, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are like the requirements, and this is why they're giving him this sentence, and he has to follow this through. And yesterday, son, he dropped a freestyle or something. Man, he's doing the complete opposite of what the judge said, and I'm like, yo, homie, why are you putting this on the internet, man? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, bro. At the end of the day, bro, people, fame is an addiction, and I like to align it with the fact of a lot of individuals who really, say a lot, not all, but a lot of individuals who really wasn't living that complete and that real street life, and really, getting it. Their adrenaline for being noticed now is like crack on 10, because now they feel like they're somebody. We got people listening when they looking at these views, and they hearing people, get in contact with them like, yo, I want you on my joint. You got, now your chest goes out even more. You dig, you look like the North Carolina wolf pack wolf, the chest sticking out, you know what I mean, on
Yeah.
diesel. You dig, boy? So
it's a song Nas came out with. He said, man, I gave you power. I made you buck wild.
yeah,
He was talking
absolutely.
about the hammer, but like the internet is like that shit.
It makes them buck wild, homie. You got a lot of dudes hiding in their little caves in out of town areas, rural areas, and so forth and so on. And listen, check this out. A lot of individuals are putting themselves in these positions. You dig? And again, content is content. I understand it to some degree. what I don't agree with is, the demoralizing and the degradation of, that individuals are utilizing to, just defile or, diminish, other individuals of the same ethnicity or nationality as them, same class, color. However, that's what this is still, again, like I said previously, that Willie Lynch syndrome that is embedded. Cameron said it best, man. You dig? We come from whips and chains. Now, a lot of us, all we want is whips and chains. And I'm just saying that our brain is locked into the fact of being something we no longer are, or attempting to be something that we shouldn't even be striving to be in this day and time, and that's this gangster.
Well, you know what? That's very valid, because I think that people think they're changing their lifestyle because they've changed their tax bracket, not knowing that changing your lifestyle, your mind state, and your civility has nothing to do with the money. Has nothing to do with your popularity now. Has nothing to do with you being in the internet and now you pushing a little BM or something. You know what I'm saying? It actually
Absolutely.
has to do with your dedication to finding the better things in life that suit you. So if you don't want to be in jail, then you need to start hanging out with some people that ain't in jail, that run
Ain't in
business.
jail.
Ain't like,
Aren't thinking about jail. Aren't
not
thinking
at all.
about doing capers and doing the
No,
things that
no.
would have jail attached to it. Absolutely
Now,
fucking vertical talk,
yeah, I
bro.
can't be over here talking about, yo, Frankie, I'm on the internet and I'm trying to get this money and live. But then every time somebody like, yo, your little man Nick, yo, you know he be over here. Yo, Nick, what the hell, Nick? Yo, something ain't adding up here, because if you trying to do this, what the fuck you over there 1 a.m. with these guys for? Yeah, it should be in bed doing what you supposed to be. You know what I mean? You work, right?
I'm gonna tell you what I believe, right? And this is my opinion. Person can get mad. I don't give a flipping flying F. A lot of these individuals that are like this don't have courage. They don't have courage to be who they want to be. Tony said it. You point a finger at me because you don't have the courage to be who you would like to be. You sitting here and you're lying to your wife and saying that I want to be with you, and you don't care about her, you don't like her, you're not in love with her no more. You're telling your man that, yo, you dig, I'm this, that, and the third, but in your heart, you really don't want to be on the corner anymore, but you don't know how to stay off the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how to drop that, that facade. And because you feel that dudes are going to talk about you. And it takes me back. It takes me back when I was a little jit, you did, and I'm going and my mom's holding my hand and my sister's hand, and we're going to church. But while I'm walking down the block, I'm seeing all my little, what I looked at as my friends, they're doing everything that I wanted to do. And I felt embarrassed because my mom's got my hand and she's leading me to church.
Mm-hmm.
So this starts my way of thinking that once I get the chance, man, I'm trying to be over there with such and such and such and such, because they look like they having fun.
Yep.
And unbeknownst to me, this was the start. I want to say consciously because I wanted to be at that time over there with them.
Mm-hmm.
But unconsciously because I didn't know the effects of being over there with them and what it would lead to. Once I
not knowing
started
that church walk was really where it was at.
was where, and not to say that it was really where it was at, because you got heathens in church. But I want to believe.
No, but I mean in the sense of
know
why
what you're
your mother.
saying, right? I
Yeah,
understand exactly.
you.
But
Yeah.
again, I like to attach the pros and the cons, because a person is, well, over here, no, because I know a lot of people that found those same heathens, you dig, in church or whatever the case may be. Now, what the intention was from your moms of having you in that was that, guess what? I'm gonna place you in a more positive and productive and
go.
constructive environment. That's what they
So
believe.
the probability of you succeeding and meeting good people that genuinely have your back for the right reasons is much more higher than Frankie
being over there on the corner.
On them corners.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
You dig? Absolutely. So again, man, I know, and this is my belief. And and if you listen to this, if it resonates with you, man, you dig what I'm saying? All gangster aside, all real aside. Well, matter of fact, keep the real a part of you and make the real decision to say that, you know what? Nah, you know what? Sam is right. I am a little intimidated, if not scared or apprehensive about allowing people that I have been around for countless amount of years doing this, that, and the third, that they're not gonna look at me and say, how my man said it and paid in full. Will the street still love me?
Did they
Huh?
ever love you is the question.
Did they ever love you was the question, Mitch. You dig? So yeah, money making Mitch. So yeah, man, you know, a lot of people say again, man, that yo, that's the idiot box, or that's television. Nah, it's the idiot box for idiots who haven't done their history or who doesn't have any knowledge to understand that some of the things that's on that so-called idiot box are they're putting it right in your face, but you're too ignorant or dumb or foolish to be able to decipher or dissect the ingredients of it to see, oh shit, it's truth in that. And hence the old adage that says, hey yo, boy, get from in front of that TV so close. Because when you're sitting so close up to it, you're not seeing everything. You know, so yeah, you know, again, man, I hope, you know, because of I want to believe the accomplishments that a person like Big U may have made in coming home from prison and getting to where he got to prior to this unfortunate situation, and which could possibly or potentially be his uh, man, I'm not man, his demise. Um, I hope,
Yeah,
man,
for his world to come shattering down.
right? You
You
know,
know what I'm
I
saying? And it
hope that he
seems,
has an arsenal of receipts that says and that can disprove what they're saying about him in this indictment and what others may be saying in the form of telling in order to save themselves and throw him under the bus. You know, is that a reality? Who knows? You dig?
well, and we just don't know what they have on him specifically
Without a
either, where
question.
he's implemented himself directly, and there is no way for you to fucking fight at. You said this here, you know what I'm saying? Like, once they got you dead to rights, you just gotta, you know what I mean, accept it for what it is. They got you, and it's fucked up. You're gonna be
Yeah.
mad, you're gonna be tight, but there's no way to fight this. And your lawyer is gonna just look
Well,
at you and shrug their shoulders.
I respectfully beg to differ. You can always fight it. Will you win? Is the ultimate.
Well, I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
ultimately, like, the money, the time, the headache,
Yeah.
the
And it's gonna
everything, like,
catch. It's going
yeah,
and every one of those elements that you just named the headaches already started. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Now, do you have the money that's gonna withstand the amount of time that this situation is gonna take to come to a head? Being that it has a number of people involved. I was part of a 28-man indictment. It took 2.5 years in order to get to a point where I can just take a plea concerning everything and anything that I and I alone did. You dig? There were others that were a part of my indictment who actually took longer. Some were going to trial and some were taking pleas, but they couldn't basically take their pleas until I took my plea, so to speak, because they had me at the front of the indictment along with another. So basically, it's that thing. Whereas if he goes to trial, for those of them that were unsavorable and whose mindset was that, yo, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm willing to say this, that, or the third, and out of line and paint this picture or that picture. Once I learned, what I was up against and what we were up against, the individuals who had looked at me, looked for me to give them, the best advice I did, and I let them know that, yo, what we were up against, which was a 1962 D, you know, 1962 D was participating. No, hold on, let me get it correct. It was to participate in racketeering activity. And now that I'm thinking about it, it just won't come. But it wasn't the actual RICO. It was an umbrella. It was a D. Basically, it's like in the state. In the state, you got the misdemeanor. You got an A misdemeanor, and you got a, let's say, a E felony or F felony. E felony, I think, is the lowest felony, but it's like the highest misdemeanor. Well, 1962 D was like the lowest felony, but highest misdemeanor in the Fed sense because it was just hearsay. And it was can't get it. And it's gonna come to me when I'm not thinking. But basically the end part of it was basically uh participating or to participate in racketeering activity, man. And I just haven't gone over it so long, man, in a minute that, you know what I'm saying, that I just don't have it. But as I think about it, 1962 D, for anybody that want to look up the statute, is basically what it was. But yeah, bro, it's you know, it's crazy because for me, you know, I say to myself, you know, a being, you know, an individual that was heavily affiliated and heavily into the, you know, the signs and the times of, you know what I'm saying, a G life, you dig, to see a brother that I, from the outside looking in, thought, looked up to as making it, coming home from prison and doing what he had to do to, you know, transition and and make it to basically be pulled down in this fashion is like, yeah, you know, it's kind of like disturbing to me, man. And yeah, it is. It's called conspiracy to participate in racketeering activity. It's a conspiracy. It's not even an actual act. It's basically an individual, and that's a crazy thing because that in and of itself is, I believe, punishable for by up to 20 years. Now, with the gang enhancements, as I also said before, that I had, which was the leadership role and so forth and so on. So, yeah, 1962 is conspiracy to participate in racketeering activity, you know? And that was the crazy thing in my situation is because with the RICO Act, they couldn't get me on the RICO. Well, actually, at the first part, when they thought that I was on a wiretap and they believed that it was me, it was conspiracy to commit murder. And when they realized that I wasn't on a wiretap and it wasn't me, I dig. And that's why I go in earlier about zealous or overzealous individuals, you dig. They came with the 1962 D because their thing was that they had already brought me and others who weren't even in the outside world at that point into a RICO case. And regardless of whether who was, you know, culpable and who weren't, I was one of those that had a charge that I had that brought me into the RICO Act that I should have never been a part of and would have never been a part of if it wasn't for investigators, or not just investigators, to be all the way fair, confidential informants saying when they heard the name or when the investigators went to the name and said, yo, uh, who's this voodoo? And they weren't saying Boo. They were saying a whole nother name that sound like Boo. So with the confidential informants and the CI, which is the confidential informant, oh, I'm talking about the wow, that name will come to me as well in a second. When they went to them and said, they said, well, yo, that's such and such, and nobody can do such and such with such and such. And it's like, oh, word. So now their mind starts to whirling, like I said, zealous, overzealous, whatever the case may be. I can get a collar, I can make my case, I can make my I can make my kudos off of this one. You know what I mean? I can get the promotion off of this, you know, and hence I was drug into a situation that had it not been for that, or had I believed at that time, if they wouldn't have had that, like if on state, if you brought me and said that I was brought into this situation because you believed that I was guilty of a conspiracy to commit murder, and then you find out on state that I had nothing to do that. Once you drop that conspiracy to commit murder that brought me into this whole situation, everything else goes away. Well, with the feds, that's not the case. Once they can prove that, guess what, you may have, or that was you speaking to individuals, or that you were on that phone saying what's cracking or what's popping, they automatically could tie you in. You dig? And don't let them have you saying or to do something that may be construed as something wrong. Yeah, all that with them is a whole nother case of worms. You dig what I'm saying? And yeah, that's when you're definitely made to say, if you know that you were saying, if you said something like XYZ, and you know XYZ is like, okay, let's see, even better. Me and you, we on a joint and we going, ah. Well, guess what? If you got a person and they can equate that to saying may mean something nefarious or wicked and get people, guess what? You got to prove that was just something that was being said to fill in a gap. It's what they call a filibuster, a
Yeah.
seat holder. Yeah. So basically, we're using that term to say that instead of saying these words, we're just saying and guess what? Those who know, and those who don't. But it is nothing nefarious. It's nothing malicious. It's nothing wicked. It's just a lingo that our culture or our urban areas or our, era
Yeah, our little
utilize.
demographic and all that. Yeah,
That's
that's how
it.
we talk. But it
That's
ain't.
it.
But you
It
can
ain't nothing
easily,
attached to it. You
yeah,
dig?
manipulate
But
that.
then again, you can have an individual that may be facing 20, maybe even facing 2 years, who can't even take those 2 years or whatever the case may be for whatever reason. Guess what? He got a girl that he knows is gonna leave him. So guess what? He tender. He got the Tina wiener. So guess what? Yeah. So now he says, yo, okay, and he falls. Yeah, bro. So it's so much, man. So again, man, I want to hope. You dig? Like my man, 10-4 says, I want to believe. But would I be fooling myself to believe that, guess what? There's not the potential that, bro may have been doing something that he shouldn't have been doing. I
Well, I
just want to
got one
believe that
more
he
clip
wasn't.
as we take the show out, you know what I'm saying, that I wanted to play just to leave the audience with, you know what I'm saying, just so, they can marinate on everything, you know what I'm saying, and come up with their own conclusions, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, let's get it. Yeah. Now I'm sitting
Yeah.
there thinking, bro. Yeah, I'm sitting
Yeah.
there thinking, man, because it's just, yeah, man. It's just one of those things that you say, damn, bro. You know what I mean? I wish you the best. You understand, and hope that I'm
Yeah,
saying it
man.
is all. I hope, I wish you the best, and hope that what you said is the truth, and what everybody else is saying or assuming is not. But hey, it is what it is, man. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Let's get it.
See the dog rocking out with you. He like, yo, Frankie talking that gangster shit, man. he tried to get his little shot. Yo, you can't be on the
Yeah.
internet, all right? Don't be clout
He,
chasing, dog.
he already there. He already there, man.
Even
And
the dog's clout
yeah,
chasing, Frankie. The
the
internet's
fans, yo,
something else,
how
man.
we say, get at me, dog. Another statement next. Get at me, dog. You heard? So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
let's
heard
get
the
into
dog
that clip.
talking. He say, yo, man, get at me, dog. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, get my little shout out, my little ad lib up there. All right, I'm going to jump
facts.
into this, and then we're going to take him out, son.
This afternoon, the alleged leader of the Rolling 60s CRIPS gang made his first appearance in federal court. In fact, we just got this sketch in from the courtroom. The judge ordered Eugene Henley Jr. to remain in federal custody at least until his detention hearing, which is now scheduled for March 31st. Henley turned himself in to federal agents yesterday. Investigators also looking into his charity and how he used donations and grant money. NBC4's Alex Rozier joins us live with reaction you will see for the first time only on 4. Alex.
Colin, Eugene Henley Jr.'s charity received millions of dollars in grant money from the city's GRID program. That's the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program. But the feds say his charity was a front for his criminal enterprise. And today we're hearing reaction from other grant recipients who reacted to this news. Eugene Henley Jr., known as Big U, is well known in the community.
This season 2 of Checking In.
On his podcast seen here on YouTube, he's been joined by celebrities like Nick Cannon.
I grew up in a church.
And Snoop Dogg.
The big homie.
Yes, sir.
But Big U's also known for his nonprofit, Developing Options, that works to reduce gang violence.
They do tremendous work with youth, particularly around sports and gang intervention.
Dr. Robert Cesedo runs Community Build, another organization that works on gang reduction, and he knows Big U.
Your experience with Big U has been positive.
Oh, absolutely positive.
And that's why he was stunned to learn of his arrest. The feds say Big U ran a criminal enterprise that committed a series of racketeering crimes, including extortion, human trafficking, fraud, and the 2021 murder of an aspiring rapper.
I was shocked to hear, but we're always shocked when we hear the initial news. And that's why I always tell people, hey, let's not rush to judgment.
The feds also said Henley Jr.'s charity was a front for his criminal enterprise.
Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling donations made by celebrities, professional athletes.
Court papers said Developing Options has received millions in grant money from the City of LA's Gang Reduction and Youth Prevention Program, known as GRID. Dr. Ciceto's nonprofit is also a GRID grant recipient, and even after the arrest, he's a big believer in the program.
The GRID intervention and prevention employees across the spectrum of GRID agencies are really the silent heroes you don't know anything about or hear about. Several years ago, when murders in Los Angeles were at a high of 1,200 per year, that number's come down to, I think, just over a couple of hundred per year. And that's a direct result of us doing the type of work we do.
Not only does Dr. Ciceto believe in the program, he still speaks highly of Big U's charity.
I am aware of the great work that they've done in their section of town.
But Developing Options leader is now in custody, facing the possibility of decades behind bars.
We just need to let the process take its place and see where it lands.
Yeah, so I try to end it on a little positive note there for the people, you know what I'm saying? Try to slander or throw him under the bus. You know, the brother up there saying a couple good words about him, but
No, actually said a lot of good words. And again, like this is what we as, you know what I'm saying, blacks should, not only take heed to, but, really consider. You dig? Like, who really knows? But as he said, man, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not jump to the fact of him just being guilty or what the U.S. government may have being true. Let's stand by and not necessarily support, but not necessarily just be gullible or vulnerable to things that may turn out to be what they shouldn't have been. And that's on the up and up.
Yeah.
Right. You dig? Again, man, as the brother just said so eloquently, he knows nothing but good from the doing of Big U. And that's profound because it doesn't seem like he's a person whose integrity, he's not a part of that investigation. His integrity still stands at 1,000%. So for him to get on in the midst of people ostracizing or demonizing Big U, he still says, yo, listen, man, I don't know that side. You dig? And it's a shock to hear this. So potentially there may not be a this. Maybe, he may have been aligned with some unsavourable characters that he was trying to keep on a straight and narrow. I want to believe. Is this an actual fact? No. But I want to believe that after all the time that he spent in prison, after all the heartaches and the struggles that he may have been through and the succession of lessons that he may endure, that this is the case. And that he's just, for whatever reason or however the attachment was, being pulled into something that, maybe, the feds just don't understand right now. And it turns out that, he'll be cleared and free to continue doing, what I would like to believe was good work. Is this the case? There's always the potential that, guess what? That bad or negativity could be or could have been attached to, some of the workings of said individual. I just want to believe. I want to believe in the fact that it's not, and that there's an individual that came home from the same kind of circumstances I did, and strove to get to where he's gotten, and maybe in that same aspect by him attaching himself to individuals that may still be in game because, like, again, man, let me go back. The taxes and so forth came to Jesus and said, yo, why you doing what you're doing for the downtrodden and the wayward individuals? Jesus said, I didn't come here for the saints, I came here for the sinners. And I believe that individual from the street can tell another individual of the street something that the person that is still of the streets will listen to and be able to identify, and it will resonate with them. Not to say that a person from Harvard or Yale or any of these, great or colleges or whatever the case may be can't. But I believe it'll be quicker and easier for a person that is from the street to listen to an individual that has come from the same kind of circumstances as him. And we've seen that in some of our greatest activists and forerunners, whether it was the Nat Turners or the Harriet Tubmans or the Mega Evers or there's so many others, man. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I wish I wish him the best. But again, I'm a realist. I pride myself on trying to, not, be unbiased and just weigh things out according to how I would want a person to, take the time and the consideration to weigh or to have weighed things out in my past and to weigh things out now that I have, attempted to transition into the person or the better version of myself. So yeah, man, with that being said, man, that's as vertical as I can be, without lending any kind of negative, uh, 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 you know, sentiments towards, family, Big U. And again, man, at the end, he has to hold himself accountable if any of this other stuff was going on. And if it wasn't going on, then may, the Most High bless him, guide him, and protect him through the journey in which he's about to, have to endure. And ultimately, hopefully, he comes out like Andy Dufresne, clear on the other side, But yeah, that's where this is at right now with me.
All right, well, on that note, we're going to leave it right here. The audience could get up in the comments in the chat, you know what I mean, and drop the comment. I mean, drop their ideas and they, synopsis of the situation and what they think might pop off, what's true, what's not. And let's have a little party. Let's have a little block party in the comment section.
It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. You heard? Yo, man, listen. Hit that like button on your way in. And if you join in a little later, hit it on your way out. Also, put them comments in. And with the comments right after, share that with a friend. This is vertical talk. We're giving it vertically, you dig, which is straight up and down. So you dig, hopefully, if you're coming, come back. You dig? If you ain't came yet, come on in. And let's get it like we getting it. Vertical talk, man. With that being said, yo, Nick, man, give us your closing words, man, and let's do this.
Yo, Frankie, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show. You know what I'm saying? We always get down for the come up, keep it real for the people. You know what I'm saying? And I just want everybody out there, like Frankie said, like, share, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their aunt to tell their little baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? This one, that one. Do it in the bodega to tap in because we keeping it vertical over here. And on that note, protect yourself.
Tell your dog. You heard the dog barking. Tell your dog. You heard? Like, tell your dog, like, yo, give it up. Bark. Oh, you heard? Yeah, nah, we out of here, Nick. One love.
Yo, peace out. One. All right, boom.